What if Count Dooku betrayed Palpatine during Revenge of the Sith? That is our story for today, so let's dive in. Our story begins during the Battle of Coruscant. Count Dooku stood alone in the shadowed corridors of the Invisible Hand, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. The distant roar of turbo laser fire echoed through the hull as the Republic fleet continued to clash with the Separatists above Coruscant. He should have felt triumph. For years, this war had drained the Republic, tightened the Separatist hold across the galaxy, and played perfectly into the designs of Darth Sidious. But Dooku's heart was unsettled. He paused before the massive durasteel doors that led into the Chancellor's holding chamber, where Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi would soon arrive. His master had told him this moment would be decisive. Together they would break Skywalker, twist him and forge him into the Sith's new weapon, and yet Dooku closed his eyes, centering himself in the Force. He reached deep, allowing its currents to sweep through his mind. At first, he felt only the usual chaos of war, death, fear, violence, but then the Force shifted. Images began to form, unbidden. He saw himself kneeling, both of his hands cut off. Anakin Skywalker stood over him, his face grim and eyes burning with fury. Sidious' voice, cold and serpentine, rang in Dooku's ears. "Good, Anakin, good. Kill him now." Dooku's chest tightened as the vision played out. He felt the flash of heat as Skywalker's blades severed his head. He saw the triumph in Sidious's yellow eyes, the satisfaction of a master discarding a pawn. His eyes snapped open, breath uneven. It was not merely a dream, it was truth, a glimpse of what Sidious had always intended. The Sith Lord had never seen Dooku as an apprentice, only a stepping stone. The grand promise of reshaping the galaxy, of restoring order, had been nothing but lies. For the first time in years, Dooku felt fear. Then in that fear, clarity. Sidious had to die. The Jedi were blind, shackled by dogma. But if Sidious fell, Dooku could seize control of the Separatist movement himself. With his power, and with General Grievous at his side, the galaxy could yet be reshaped. Not under Sidious's tyranny, but under Dooku's vision. His decision came swiftly. He would betray the betrayer. Dooku tapped the comm unit hidden on his wrist, his voice low and commanding. "Captain, prepare all Separatist ships at my signal. You will fire upon this vessel. Target the Invisible Hand. I will issue the command personally." The commander hesitated. Fire on their own flagship, but none dared question the Count. Next, he opened a private channel to General Grievous. "General, you will withdraw immediately. Take your fleet and rendezvous at Utapau. Do not return until I summon you." Grievous' gravelly voice growled back, "What of Lord Sidious?" Dooku's eyes narrowed, his tone brooking no dissent. "He is no longer your concern. Do as I command." A brief pause, then the transmission cut. Dooku straightened, gathering the calm dignity of a Jedi master he once was, though shadows lingered in his gaze. This was no longer Sidious's game, it was his. With a final breath, he pressed the panel and the chamber doors hissed open. The vast chamber was dimly lit, the towering durasteel walls illuminated only by flickering sparks from battle damage. At its center, the Supreme Chancellor sat bound to a chair, head bowed in feigned helplessness. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker entered, blades drawn, eyes locked upon their old enemy. Dooku descended the stairs with deliberate grace, his crimson saber igniting with a snap hiss. "Ah, the famous heroes of the Republic," he said coolly, voice echoing in the chamber. "So good of you to join us." The duel erupted instantly. Obi-Wan struck first, his form defensive and measured, while Anakin pressed forward with relentless aggression. Dooku countered them both, his blade weaving arcs of precision that forced them back. Sparks flew as blue and red clashed again and again, the air alive with the hum of combat. He fought with elegance, but he was calculating, testing their strength, buying time. Anakin lunged with fury, but Dooku extended his hand, unleashing a powerful wave of the Force. The young Jedi was hurled against the wall with bone-jarring force, his saber clattering from his hand. Obi-Wan stepped in, their sabers locking in a bright, crackling stalemate. Dooku's voice was low, filled with biting truth. "You fight for a republic already lost, Kenobi. The Sith control everything you believe you protect." Obi-Wan's brow furrowed, confusion flickering across his face. "What are you saying?" "The Republic is Sidious' puppet," Dooku pressed, his tone urgent. "Your Chancellor is the Sith Lord you seek." The words cut deep, and for a moment Obi-Wan faltered. His mind reeled, his heart refusing to accept the possibility. Yet the pieces fell into place. Palpatine's influence, his secrecy, his power. Could it truly be? Behind them, a voice rang out, venomous and sharp. Enough! The binders holding Palpatine snapped loose, thrown aside by an unseen force. With a flick of his hands, two red lightsabers ignited in unison. His yellow eyes glared at Dooku with seething hatred. "You dare betray me, my apprentice?" Sidious hissed. Dooku's lips curved into a grim smile. "I am no longer your pawn." Anakin staggered back to his feet, retrieving his saber. He glanced at Obi-Wan, then at Palpatine, realization dawning in his eyes. Obi-Wan's voice was tight, steady despite the storm raging inside him. "Anakin, it's true. He's the Sith Lord." Anakin's eyes burned with fury as he leveled his blade. "Then we end him together." The three warriors moved as one. Dooku watched, biding his time. This was the moment he had prepared for. Through the Force, he gave the command. Outside, Separatist warships turned their turbo lasers on the invisible hand. The chamber shook violently, a deep tremor that rattled durasteel beams and sent sparks raining from the ceiling. Outside, turbo lasers pounded the invisible hand, tearing through the flagship's armor. Dooku's command had been obeyed. The Separatist fleet was firing on their own leader's ship. Palpatine's eyes widened in realization, his fury erupting like a storm. "You fool! You think you can kill me?" His twin crimson blades cut through the air with terrifying speed. "I am the dark side itself!" Anakin and Obi-Wan pressed forward, sabers flashing in perfect harmony. Years of fighting side by side made them an unbreakable wall, each strike flowing into the other. Obi-Wan defended against Sidious's lightning-fast blows while Anakin struck back with raw, overwhelming power. Sidious snarled, twisting and leaping with unnatural agility. He drove his sabers in vicious arcs, nearly cutting Anakin across the chest. Obi-Wan intercepted the strike, teeth gritted as sparks flared between their blades. "You've lied to us!" Obi-Wan shouted, voice shaking with righteous anger. "You manipulated the Republic, the Senate, Anakin!" Sidious cackled, voice filled with venom. "Yes, Kenobi, and you were blind, all of you Jedi, too arrogant to see the truth staring you in the face," Anakin roared, fury burning in his chest. "You turned the galaxy into a war just to gain power. You turned me against my friends. I'll kill you!" His saber met Palpatine's with crushing force, sending shockwaves through the chamber. Obi-Wan joined him, their combined assault forcing Sidious back step by step. Dooku lingered at the edge, his saber held defensively. His eyes darted between master and apprentices. This was his moment to let the storm destroy itself. He felt the ship buck again as another blast struck its hull. Fire erupted along the walls, smoke choking the air. "Time to end this," Dooku murmured. A massive explosion tore through the starboard side, rocking the chamber violently. Obi-Wan and Anakin were thrown sideways, rolling to their feet with practiced precision. Palpatine staggered but recovered quickly, his face twisted in fury. "You will die with me," he hissed, unleashing a blast of force lightning at Anakin. Blue energy crackled, engulfing the young Jedi. Anakin screamed, but Obi-Wan leapt in front, raising his blade to absorb the torrent. The lightning sizzled, sparks crawling up the blade, but Obi-Wan held firm, sweat pouring down his brow. Anakin surged forward through the storm, sabers locked with Palpatine's in a clash of light and fury. Obi-Wan joined him, and together they pushed Sidious back toward the edge of the crumbling platform. The invisible hand groaned and screamed, its hull splitting apart under relentless bombardment. The floor cracked, fire consuming the walls. "Anakin, with me!" Obi-Wan shouted. Together, the two Jedi unleashed a massive force push, their combined will striking Palpatine like a hurricane. The Sith Lord stumbled back, crashing into a collapsing support beam. For the first time, fear flickered in his eyes. He raised his hands to retaliate, but the ceiling gave way. A massive explosion tore through the chamber, engulfing Sidious in a wave of fire and debris. His scream echoed as he was swallowed by flame. The Sith Lord was gone. Anakin's chest heaved, his face illuminated by the flickering fires. "Is he?" Obi-Wan nodded grimly. "It's over. He's finished." But the ship wasn't. The invisible hand was breaking apart, the deck tilting dangerously as alarms screamed. Dooku, already near the escape pods, gave a final smirk before vanishing into the shadows. One by one, the pods launched into space, scattering like sparks into the void. "Skywalker, this way!" Obi-Wan pulled Anakin by the arm. Together, they sprinted through collapsing corridors, leaping over fallen beams as explosions ripped through the flagship. Smoke burned their lungs, flames licked at their robes. At last, they burst into a hangar bay. Fighters lay scattered, some burning, others intact. The entire chamber tilted as the ship entered its death spiral, tearing through Coruscant's upper atmosphere. "Take that one." Anakin pointed to a sleek Separatist shuttle still fueled and ready. They leapt aboard, Anakin slamming the controls to life. Behind them, the invisible hand split apart in a colossal explosion. Fireballs erupted into the night sky of Coruscant, debris raining down like meteors. And with it, the last breath of Darth Sidious. The shuttle rocketed away, its engines screaming as Anakin and Obi-Wan escaped the inferno. Later, within the hallowed halls of the Jedi Temple, Anakin and Obi-Wan stood before the Council. Mace Windu's expression was unreadable, his voice measured. "You are certain Palpatine was the Sith Lord?" "Yes, Master," Obi-Wan replied, his tone firm despite the exhaustion in his eyes. "We saw it ourselves. He wielded the dark side. He would have killed us both." Yoda's ears drooped, his voice heavy with sorrow. "Blind we were, clouded by the dark side. To our shame, the Sith ruled before our very eyes." Anakin's fists clenched at his sides. "He's gone. But Count Dooku and General Grievous escaped. They'll rally the Separatists. The war isn't over." Windu's gaze hardened. "Then we fight on. But now we fight with truth at last." The Senate was informed soon after. Gasps of horror and outrage filled the Great Hall as Mas Amedda delivered the report. Palpatine, beloved Chancellor, revealed as the Dark Lord of the Sith. Panic spread, but hope followed. His reign of deception was ended. Padme Amidala and Mon Mothma rose as voices of stability, urging unity as the Republic braced for the battles yet to come. But across the stars, on Utapau, Count Dooku and General Grievous prepared their counterstrike. The war was far from finished. Coruscant's skyline glimmered under the dim glow of emergency lights as the Senate convened in turmoil. The destruction of the Invisible Hand and the death of Chancellor Palpatine had thrown the galaxy into shock. For the first time in decades, the people of the Republic glimpsed the full scope of the Sith's deception. Reports of Dooku and Grievous's escape sent ripples of panic through every planetary system. Mon Mothma and Padme Amidala, thrust into leadership roles, addressed the Senate with calm authority. "Fellow senators," Padme's voice echoed through the chamber, steady yet somber, "we have survived the loss of a chancellor. The Sith's grip has been broken, but the Separatists remain, and they will not rest until we are destroyed. We must prepare together for the battles ahead." Even as her words inspired hope, Jedi Masters and clone commanders understood the grim reality. The war was far from over. Far across the galaxy, on the sinkhole-covered world, standing on the high plateaus of Utapau, Count Dooku and General Grievous surveyed their forces. Ships had been repaired and retrofitted. The Separatist droid armies, previously controlled under Sidious' strategic oversight, now fell entirely under Dooku's command. His mastery of strategy, combined with Grievous' unrelenting ferocity, transformed the Separatist forces into a more dangerous, unpredictable army. Grievous' voice rasped as he paced before a holomap. "Without the Sith, the Republic may think us leaderless, a weakness, but we are stronger than ever. Coruscant will burn again if we strike." Dooku's expression remained calm, almost serene, though his mind raced with possibilities. "The Jedi and Republic are still blind," he said, tracing the fleet's positions on the holomap. "Their morale is shaken, and their trust fractured. We will use their uncertainty against them. Every battle, every strike, must push the Republic back, weaken their resolve, until victory is inevitable." From the shadowed corners of the command room, Separatist admirals and droid commanders awaited orders. Every system under Dooku's control responded instantly to his commands, a testament to his unchallenged dominance. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Council convened an emergency session. Yoda's ears drooped, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily upon him. "The Sith gone, but threat remains," he said, his voice tinged with caution. "Dooku leads, Grievous waits. Aggression will increase. Prepare we must." Mace Windu's gaze swept the council chamber. "We need a strategy that protects the Republic while giving us a chance to strike at their leadership. If we allow Dooku and Grievous to consolidate, the cost in lives will be unimaginable." Kit Fisto and Plo Koon exchanged grim nods. The clone armies were ready, but the Republic's forces had been stretched thin by years of war. Now, without Sidious manipulating the conflict from behind the scenes, battlefields erupted into raw, unfiltered violence. Across the Outer Rim, separatist fleets under Dooku's direct command became more daring. Entire systems fell to blitzkrieg-style strikes, planetary defenses overwhelmed in hours. Republic ships and clone battalions scrambled to respond, often arriving too late to prevent devastation. Anakin Skywalker, still reeling from his duel with Sidious and his massive deception, was deployed alongside Obi-Wan and a strike team from the 212th Battalion led by Commander Cody. Their mission to stabilize key systems, gather intelligence, and, if possible, hit separatist leadership before it could regroup fully. "Coruscant will need every ship we can spare," Cody said grimly. "The separatists are no longer just droids. They have purpose, leadership, and strategy. They won't be easy to stop." Obi-Wan's jaw tightened. "And Dooku is no longer the apprentice we once knew. He's a master of deception and planning. Every move we make, he anticipates." Anakin's eyes blazed with a mix of fear and determination. "Then we give him no chance to think. Every strike must be precise, ruthless. The galaxy depends on it." Dooku's leadership changed the separatist philosophy. Under Sidious, the war had been a controlled chaos, measured, strategic, designed to manipulate the Republic's weaknesses. Now, unshackled, Dooku pushed his forces harder, faster, and more aggressively than ever. "Strike the Republic where they think they are strongest," Dooku instructed. "Their fleets are distracted, their Jedi stretched thin. Show no mercy. Show them the cost of hubris." Grievous let out a mechanical laugh, the sound echoing through the command deck. "I will lead the vanguard personally. Every Jedi we encounter will die. Every clone that stands against us will fall." The separatist forces, emboldened by Dooku's presence and freed from Sidious's manipulations, began a wave of attacks that destabilized even core systems of the Republic. The Jedi and clones found themselves on the defensive, stretched across countless worlds, responding to crises that arose faster than they could organize. Even as Dooku prepared his forces for a second full-scale assault on Coruscant, the Republic worked feverishly to shore up defenses. Jedi Masters strategized tirelessly, dispatching reconnaissance missions and gathering intelligence on separatist fleet movements. Yet all of them understood one grim truth. The galaxy was on the brink of a war more brutal than anything the Clone Wars had yet delivered. Dooku's betrayal had removed Sidious, but it had not ended the Sith's shadow, only shifted it into the hands of a more cunning, ruthless adversary. And on Utapau, Dooku stood atop a high plateau, gazing across the horizon, the twin suns reflecting in his eyes. "The Republic is weak. With the truth of Palpatine, they are in disarray," he murmured. "Soon my vision will come into reality. The war is coming to an end." Dooku walks to his ship, his fleet en route to Coruscant. The city planet was fire. From orbit, separatist ships blotted out the sun, unleashing wave after wave of droid carriers. They descended through Coruscant skies like a mechanical storm, vomiting battalions of battle droids into the heart of the Republic. The Jedi Temple, once a monument of serenity, became a fortress. Its gleaming spires bristled with clone artillery. Its grand steps turned into barricades of durasteel. Within, thousands of Jedi and clone troopers prepared for the final stand. Inside the temple's war chamber, Masters Yoda, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, and Plo Koon stood over a holographic map. Red dots, enemy signatures, surrounded the temple like a sea of blood. "Outnumbered we are," Yoda said grimly. "Millions, their droids number." Mace's jaw tightened. "The temple must hold. If Coruscant falls, the Senate is lost, and with it the Republic." Obi-Wan and Anakin entered, Commander Cody at their side. Anakin's face was taut with barely restrained fury. "We should strike Dooku directly, cut off the head, and the separatists will crumble." "Too dangerous," Windu countered. "He'll expect that. No. We defend, we endure." Anakin's fists clenched, but Obi-Wan placed a steadying hand on his shoulder. "Patience, Anakin. We fight to protect the senators, not for glory." The ground shook, droid artillery pounding at the temple's outer walls. The battle had begun. Outside, lines of clones dug in across the temple steps. A TTE walkers fired volley after volley into advancing waves of B-1 and B-2 battle droids. Super tanks rolled through the streets, crushing anything in their path. The sky itself burned, Vulture droids swarmed gunships while Venator-class star destroyers dueled with separatist capital ships overhead. The Battle of Coruscant, already devastating, had reached its apocalyptic crescendo. The Jedi poured into the fray. Green and blue sabers ignited in a forest of light, deflecting blaster fire in all directions. Masters led charges into the heart of the droid tide, their clones rallying at their side. But no matter how many droids fell, more came. By nightfall, the temple was encircled. The clones and Jedi were pressed back to the inner sanctum, the banners of the Republic burning in the streets below. From atop a shattered balcony, Count Dooku gazed at the siege. His army stood ready, endless and unyielding. Grievous at his side, the general's claws flexing with anticipation. Dooku raised a hand and ordered silence across the comm lines. The city fell quiet, save for the crackle of fire and the cries of the dying. It was time for his ultimatum. The Jedi Temple gates groaned, blackened and shattered by constant bombardment. From beyond the smoke emerged a lone figure, Count Dooku, robes pristine despite the carnage, his crimson saber dormant in his hand. The remaining Jedi gathered at the entrance. Yoda, Windu, Obi-Wan, Anakin and dozens more, their sabers ignited in defiance. Behind them, battered clones prepared for one last stand. Dooku's voice carried across the battlefield, amplified by the Force itself. Jedi Republic, you are beaten. Look around you. The Republic you swore to protect lies in ashes. Sidious is gone. The corruption you blindly served is no more. But resist me and you will all die here. His eyes swept the gathered defenders. Surrender and you will live. I will banish your order to the far reaches of the Outer Rim. Free of Senate politics, you may follow the will of the Force as it was always meant to be. And the Republic will rise anew, stripped of corruption, rebuilt by fire. Murmurs rippled through the Jedi. Some lowered their blades, weary from the slaughter. Others burned with anger. Mace Windu stepped forward, purple blade held high. You speak of cleansing corruption, Dooku, but you are a Sith. You wage war across the stars. Your words are lies. Dooku's gaze sharpened. I was a Sith, yes, a tool of Sidious, but no longer. I have seen his treachery. His death has freed me, and through me the galaxy will be free. Obi-Wan's mind raced. There was conviction in Dooku's voice, not deceit. Could it be true? Yoda closed his eyes, searching the currents of the Force. Clouded, the future remains, but truth I sense in his words. Choice, this is. The clones, bloodied and broken, looked to their generals. Their ammunition was nearly spent, their numbers halved. The temple shook again. Separatist artillery preparing for one final bombardment. And in that moment, Anakin Skywalker's voice cut through the silence. If we keep fighting, everyone here dies. But if we surrender, maybe the Republic survives. His words struck hard. One by one, lightsabers lowered. The last defenders of the Republic bowed their heads, and with them the war was decided. The Jedi surrendered. The following weeks reshaped the galaxy. Count Dooku ascended as the new head of the Republic, not as Emperor but as Chancellor of a restructured Senate. Corruption was purged ruthlessly. Corporate interests stripped of power, war profiteers executed, the Senate cleansed of bribery and manipulation. To many across the galaxy, Dooku appeared not as a tyrant but as the savior Sidious had pretended to be. The Jedi, as promised, were exiled. Sent to distant enclaves across the Outer Rim, they were stripped of political influence. No longer generals, no longer pawns of the Senate, they became something older. Wanderers, mystics, guardians of peace apart from government. Some accepted this fate with relief, others with bitterness. On Coruscant, reconstruction began. The scars of war remained, but hope stirred in the hearts of citizens who had seen corruption toppled. The separatist movement dissolved into Dooku's new republic. Its droid armies dismantled, its leaders either executed or absorbed into the reformed Senate. Anakin Skywalker, torn between loyalty to the Jedi and love for Padme, found a new path. No longer bound by the Council's restrictions, he left the Order, moving to Naboo with Padme and their unborn children. Obi-Wan stayed by his side, watching warily, but with quiet relief that Anakin's darkness had not consumed him. And in the shadows, the galaxy entered a new age, not of Sith rule nor Jedi dogma, but of Dooku's vision. The Golden Era was fragile, its foundations built on compromise and betrayal, yet for the first time in decades there was peace. And that will do it for today's story. Please consider liking and subscribing for more stories like this, and comment down below on what other what-if stories you'd like to see. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. May the Force be with you.